Hey, what is going on, guys? It's your boy John, aka Speros here, and today I'm bringing you guys a brand new Apex Legends tip video. This video is going to cover kind of how to control recoil within Apex Legends. I get this question a lot. It's really not that hard to do. It does take a lot of practice. I have done this for hours on end, you know, off stream in my free time before I start playing. It's definitely worth doing. There's really two parts to controlling recoil. There's recoil compensation, which is for vertical recoil, and then there is recoil control, which is more for the left and right and, you know, kind of staying on target. Each gun within Apex Legends has its own recoil pattern, and I suggest that you guys learn that. I'll go over just a few in this video. I don't want to make this too long. I just want to kind of give you guys the basics so you guys can improve and kind of, you know, do it yourself, because that's the best way to learn. You know, there's no way just watching a video you're just going to know how to control recoil. You kind of get in the training mode and kind of go at it. But guys, the controller that I'm going to be using today, and the controller that I use all the time, is my Scuff Vantage. I have had a lot of problems with this. I'm going to be upfront and honest. This is like my 5th Scuff Vantage. Luckily, GameStop has a really lenient return policy, because for some reason the sticks just go bad on these controllers and they get really bad stick drift, and like the aim kind of messes up. But as you guys can see, it is a Scuff controller. We got the Scuff light there. We got 2 Scuff paddles. There's no strike pack. There's no secret cheats, mods, anything like that. There's literally just a Control Freak Phantom and 2 paddles. That's all I use. I don't like the sax buttons. People for some reason tell me I should be using those, but I'm just like a 2 paddle kind of person. So Control Freak Phantom on the right stick. I do like this for controlling recoil. But the gun that we're going to start off with today, for this, you know, tutorial or whatever, that I suggest that you guys start with, is going to be the alternator. This gun has the most basic recoil pattern, in my opinion, within, you know, Apex Legends, and it's because it's just vertical. So all you really have to do is recoil compensation. So as you guys can see, not touching the right stick, pulling on the trigger, it just goes straight up. There's not a lot of left and right. You know, there's really no left and right at all. It's literally strictly vertical recoil, which makes it really easy to compensate for. So for learning recoil compensation, all you're going to want to do is just pull down on the right stick like this, just like that. You see how it's just going down so slowly? So obviously each gun has different amount of vertical recoil, therefore you're going to need different recoil compensation. So you want to kind of center it up on your target, you center, and then you want to kind of, you know, just pull down on the right stick a little bit. And the more that you guys do this, the more magazines you go through with a weapon, the better off you'll be. Like, as you can see, my first magazine was a little shaky. My second one's getting better. The third one we're getting back to be a little shaky. But, you know, the more you do it, the better off you'll be, and the easier it'll be to stay on target. But then the second part to controlling recoil is going to be recoil control. So once you guys have that vertical recoil, you know, down, that compensation, you're keeping it on target for the verticalness, you guys then have to worry about that horizontal, you know, sway or bounce, whatever you guys want to call it, that, you know, occurs when you guys start shooting. So, you know, when I start shooting this gun, we'll see, I'm not going to pull on the right stick at all. I'm just going to go. We can see it starts going vertically, and then it starts veering off to the right. I do apologize. I believe my webcam's mirrored or something, so it will look like I'm going the wrong way, but it goes vertically, and then it goes to the right. So what we have to do is kind of recreate the spray pattern, but opposite, flip it. So if it's going up and right, I got to do recoil control and pull it left. And it's towards the, like, the middle to the end of the magazine, because we can see it just goes vertical recoil, and then towards the end, you know, right around, you know, maybe 7 bullets left in the magazine, it starts pulling to the right. So right in, you know, in our mind, we're not counting shots, because that's a lot, but, you know, you can kind of figure out where you are, how many more shots you have in your magazine, and then you can start pulling to the left to kind of compensate for that recoil. But, you know, we're letting the recoil take us up, but try to get that in a straight line as much as possible. That's your recoil control. You're controlling that, you know, horizontal recoil, that left and right. So once you get that down, you get that left and right, then add the two together. Now this is, you know, can be tricky for some people. Some people just want to go right into it and do recoil compensation with recoil control, and that's fine. Like, if you can do that, do it. But if you are struggling with that, try breaking it up into 2 parts. You know, for me, it's just muscle memory. I started doing this in PUBG, and, you know, I have like a couple thousand hours in that game. And that game, everybody knows the recoil and no aim assist. It gets kind of crazy. So now if we're going to do them both together, you're going to want to just pull down, and then, you know, round 7 shots, start pulling that left. You know, you want to mirror that recoil pattern, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. So as you see, first magazine was kind of shaky. Second magazine, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable. And then by the third magazine, oh, well, you need a third magazine. Third magazine, if I'm not thrown off now. Yeah, I'm thrown off. But third magazine, you should be like right on target. And that's all it is. It's just putting in the hours and putting in some time trying to perfect your aim. And then going on, that's just that. So now I'm going to start going over some guns, you know, that are really, really good that I recommend, and kind of talking about the recoil pattern. So if you were just here, you know, just how to control recoil, there's that. That's all it is. The R99 is kind of a hot topic lately. This gun's pretty gnarly, in my opinion. It's really, really good. It puts out a lot of ammo really, really quickly. It does a fair amount of damage for the fire rate. And if you guys can control this weapon with like a 3x, you'd be surprised how amazing this gun is over range. So we could just start off with the recoil pattern. Not touching the right stick. It's pretty much vertical. You know, there's a little bit of that, you know, horizontal bounce. So the control on this one's really difficult because it bounces really quickly left and right. But if you'd be surprised with just recoil compensation how much you can start landing your shots. So that's just recoil compensation. You can start adding some control in there. Obviously, I need to start pulling down harder on my stick during the compensation part. And then, you know, around third, fourth magazine, and we start hitting our shots, you know, all on target. And with aim assist, recoil compensation and control, you know, it just becomes a lot easier, in my opinion, because what aim assist does in this game is it slows your aim down once you're on target. There is no aim assist on these, as you guys can see. You know, you don't feel any of that aim assist. But just using a little bit of recoil compensation and like almost no recoil control, I'm landing all of my shots like right on the center target. And if you can land all these shots, that's a lot of 12s, man. That adds up pretty quickly. You'd be surprised. So that's just, you know, pulling down and a little bit of recoil control. So just mostly that compensation. Moving on, another gun that I really like. This is probably my favorite gun. I'll run this, you know, anytime I get it. It's either I'm running R301 with Peacekeeper or Spitfire with Peacekeeper. So R301, recoil pattern on this gun's a little wonky because it's the same every time, but it's just a little weird. So like as you guys can see, it'll go vertical, it goes to the right, and then it kind of bounces to the left. Obviously I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but you can see that like towards, you know, 10 shots and a magazine left, it starts drifting to that left. It's kind of, there's not really many guns that have that because it doesn't go very far right. It's more vertical, right, and then left. So once you know the recoil pattern like that, then you just want to try to compensate. So right around, you know, 7 to 10 bullets left in the magazine, I'm going to start pulling to the right. Yeah, to the right to counteract the recoil going left. So recoil control, hold up. Recoil compensation first, and then once I get to that 7 to 10 shots, then we'll go recoil control. So recoil compensation, recoil control. As you can see, it was a little shaky. You know, I pulled a little bit off right, a little bit. That one was horrible. Don't be afraid to mess up. It happens, man. We're learning. This is what it's all about. You have to go into training. You got to put in some time. And then after a few magazines, you know, I'm already starting to get dialed in with the weapon. Again, with aim assist on controller, it makes it a lot easier because it slows you down, so you can start renting on stick more. But as you can see, there I over-controlled. I pulled to the right just a little bit too much. The goal is to get it to the sight, not to move at all. I keep doing it, and it's a bad habit. So I need to spend a little bit more time in training with this weapon. There you go. That was a really good one. That one was pretty much all on target. I guess it is worth noting I'm running 4 sensitivity with same ADS. I'm sure people are going to have questions about that. All right, so there I pulled it down too much. And if you guys mess up with your shot, don't be afraid to, you know, just reset. And even in game, you know, if you mess up with your shot, just stop shooting, and then you know where the recoil is going to go. So then the pattern's going to reset. Like if you stop shooting, the pattern resets. So like here, we'll go vertical, it's a straight vertical recoil, right? Straight vertical again. So if you guys stop shooting mid-magazine because you're missing all your shots, realize that the pattern will reset. I should probably put that earlier in the video. I might move it. But so, you know, we take it down to 11 shots, and then that was pretty much all vertical recoil. All vertical again. So if you know you're not very good, you know, full auto, maybe just vertical, and then stop, and then vertical again. And then you don't have to worry about any of that left and right, you know, recoil control if all you can do is the compensation. Now, that will give your enemy, you know, maybe a chance to escape. I recommend just getting used to the patterns at full auto and kind of running with it like that. But that's just me. I come from PUBG, you know, where recoil patterns are the same and it gets weird over time. But yeah, as you can see, I'm already starting to get dialed in with the gun. Again, higher zoomed optics, the more recoil it's going to have. Another gun that, you know, I think is worth noting is the Spitfire. I think this thing's an absolute monster. This is probably the best gun in the game just because of the mag size. What I like to do with this gun, the recoil is kind of weird. We'll shoot a magazine here, and you see there's a lot of left and right and left and right. And it's not too much vertical considering how many shots I just put out. So really just try to use compensation. And, you know, you can try to control it throughout. But, you know, it's really bouncy, so it's hard to control. Honestly, the best way that I found to use this weapon is to rush your enemy and just use it as a hip fire only. So it has the crosshairs, and the bullets are super accurate. You know, if you can get used to tracking with enemies as you move left and right, you can kind of see how lethal that can be. That's a lot of 20s. You know, like if you can get your hip fire down, you know, get used to the little to no aim assist, you be money. What was that noise? Oh my god. Something else that's worth noting is with the Hemlock, you know, it's a burst weapon. A lot of people think, oh, bursts don't have recoil. Bursts. Some people, I've had people accuse people of cheating because their hip fire has no recoil. It's because you can control recoil while hip firing, and you should be controlling recoil while hip firing. So this has a dot in the middle. We'll get to the hip fire with the Hemlock in a second, but you can see kind of it starts vertical and then it kind of settles into its natural recoil. So without me even moving it, you know, it does the vertical and then it settles back down because the bursts are so spaced out. So with like a little bit of recoil control, you can land pretty much every shot right on the enemy. So if you get good and you guys can start hitting headshots, you can hit every single burst. Headshots, it's absolutely devastating. This gun becomes significantly better when you start landing shots. And you can see after 3 or 4 magazines, you know, I'm getting more comfortable with the weapon. And some people may take less magazines, might just take 1, you know, and some people will take 100. It's just, you know, it takes time. But the hip fire on this gun, we'll just do this hip fire real quick, and, you know, we can kind of see the recoil. They're really not that much recoil over range. And if you can place that dot right in the center of the target, as you can see, I overcompensated for that recoil there. But if you can place it in the center of your target, hip firing with ARs and fully automatic weapons in this game is absolutely ridiculous. Like, look at that. It's right on target. So this might be another hot topic gun is the Devotion. It's really, really good, especially with the new energy weapon right there, the Havoc. You know, this thing's spawning in a lot of energy ammo, makes it a lot more viable, in my opinion. A lot more people are running energy. But this gun is more about, it has a lot. You need to recoil compensate a lot at the start because it has to ramp up. But then once it gets ramped up into, you know, its full fire rate, then it's more control. That left and that right recoil that you're going to have to control. And honestly, this gun specifically does around, I think, 700 damage per magazine. Actually, while we're sitting here, I'm going to quick change this to both. I think it does around 700 damage per magazine if you hit all your shots. So this thing, a monster. So we'll just go right into it. Recoil pattern, you see a lot of vertical recoil at start, and then it's more left and right, left and right. So really not that hard to control. Just do a lot of compensation at the start and then start doing that left and right, that control. As you can see, you know, I'm really not missing. I mean, I missed, but I didn't miss that center target too much. Like, if that was a person, they'd probably be dead, considering I did enough damage to kill around like 6 or 7 people. All right, so I need to spend some more time with this gun, as we can see. So that's the only 2 magazines. We'll do number 3 right here. All right, after magazine number 3, you know, I usually start getting dialed in, and you know, it's happening. You know, pulling down on that right stick, a little left, right. I'm getting better. But the thing is, that's pretty much how you guys control recoil in this game. Some guns have more vertical. The new gun is pretty much only vertical recoil. People are saying they're having a lot of hard time controlling it, but it's really just vertical. There's very little left or right. So this is another one that, you know, you can use with just recoil compensation. I pulled down a little bit because I was expecting that ramp up stage. I started pulling down early. It was no good, but yeah, I did it again. Hold on. So this is another gun, man. You got to get used to guns. You got to get used to it. I keep doing it. I'm doing it every time, even though I know I'm not supposed to. Hold up. There we go. That's a much better one. You see, just control. Just using some recoil compensation. I'm already lasering. I'm barely missing the target. Now, if you guys don't have Control Freaks, I recommend that you do get some. I don't have a discount code. I'm not sponsored by Control Freaks. This is just literally a product that I can't live without. Like, I can't play on a tiny stick. I don't know why. As you guys can see, the Control Freak fan, if I can figure out what my webcam is, it just pretty much doubles up the size of the stick, especially when you compare it to the other one. And it's really grippy, and it just gives it more surface area. Makes it a lot easier to control recoil, in my opinion. You know, I do like concave sticks. I don't like the domed. That's just me. But last thing that I want to go over, you know, this is kind of just a hodgepodge of aiming tips. Mainly recoil compensation and control is what I'm going over, but when you're aiming with your Peacekeeper, I see a lot of people missing Peacekeeper shots, and I think it's because they don't know about centering. Centering is just something you should do with all your guns, and, you know, strafing is how I like to center. So, especially when people are moving. Say this guy's moving to the right. You know, am I going to sit here and sit stationary and just move with him? No, I'm going to strafe with him. You want to strafe. Use your left and your right to aim. This is more for vertical. This is for sniping, too. People keep telling me to drop a sniping video, but this is how I snipe. Little tips and tricks with Speros here. But use this for the vertical and the general direction. Your first centering attempt, you know? So I'm going to use this target right here. So first centering attempt, I'm right here. I ADS, I'm off. What am I going to do? Am I going to do this? No, I had to move it twice. I'm just going to strafe into it. Maybe I'll pull a little bit on the left stick, you know, and then boom, I'm right on target. So I'm going to go center. It's just, once you get down with the strafing, it'll become one fluid motion. Every time on target. Put it in the center of your screen. Every time on target. You know, try turning left and right from it. You know, you see how I use that left and right there to keep me on target even. I'm not sitting stationary. I'm kind of doing the left and right recoil control using my left stick, and I'm kind of using the recoil compensation with my right stick. This is more of an advanced kind of method, but as you can see, it works. You know, it's not foolproof, but it's more realistic that you're going to be moving around while you're fighting in game. This gun is a gun I typically try to sit still with. But, you know, I'm strafing, and I'm still using recoil compensation and control there. So you can see my shot was definitely off on that one. Again, I'm pulling down too much, but this is something that you guys should try to do. You know, do the slide and the jump to some recoil compensation and control. You know, get fun with it. Try to put yourself in more real game situations. It's going to make it a lot easier. You can even use a little blonde down guy. You know, he's a little bit more realistic of a character model. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all my recoil compensation and all that. Pretty much how I play and how I aim, how I control recoil, compensate for it, you know, kind of the steps. I tried to break it down a little bit. I know this might not be like the tutorial everyone's looking for, but I do get this question a lot, and I kind of wanted to clear it up a little bit. If you guys want me to make another tutorial, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to. And I can, you know, try to structure it a little bit better, maybe break it down into, you know, 2 or 3 videos where I go over centering specifically, then, you know, recoil, I guess I timed out, I don't know. Then I go over recoil compensation, and then another one for recoil control, and then obviously putting them all together. I can do that. Just let me know in the comment section below. I don't know what just happened. I reset. I don't know. But hold on, let me mute this. But yeah, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed. If this helped you out at all, you know, let me know in the comment section below. Drop a like on the video if you guys haven't already. I'd appreciate that. Sub if you guys are new around here, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.